Hi guys, welcome to my plasma system here. It has been installed with the latest ISO, and these ISOs will be shared in a week's time. The topic of the video is an article that's missing. I just saw that here. The ArcoLinuxD.com website explains that if you start with ArcoLinuxD ISO, and the D stands for you decide what desktop you take. It's one of the more difficult things because at ArcoLinux you're actually enrolling into the university, and I've used this word not to deliver you any diploma, but to tell you that the university is over years of time that you gather knowledge, and not a week and a month and so on. It's not for distro hoppers, it's for people who stick around and want to learn about Linux, because we just happen to be in ArcoLinux, but it's Linux, right? That's our aim. Think out of the box. So the ArcoLinuxD website contains our whole line. Everything that's explained here can be, of course, found back into the structure of the websites. Here is XFCE. That's the most easy thing, I think. Well, opinions differ, right? But a desktop that's pretty close to Windows if you're coming from there. And on phase 2, are other major players, let's say, in desktop environment, and later on maybe you go for tiling window managers and others. And the one that's missing here is still Qt Fish, which will have a link later on. But it's all about learning how to use the Lego blocks of ArcoLinux, and we have a graphical installer, which is nice. And we don't need to go to the phase 7, which is ArcoLinux ISO. But you can do that as well, right? It's about learning. All these phases are here. I've added here the all installation video, so you see you download the most bare ISO we have. So if you are worried about packages being there, you don't need. ArcoLinuxD is the most bare one you've got, or we've got. It only contains, how many was it? 10 packages from ArcoLinux. And half of it is just design, grub, wallpapers, stuff like that. So let's go ahead and let's make this one that's missing. Installation of ArcoLinuxD CWM has not been documented yet. So a super F7 is going to launch my virtual box. I have a template ready. I'm going to clone this template, and I'm going to say it's the ArcoLinuxD, and I'm going to install CWM was, I think, right? CWM. All right. And then next, clone, put it on my machine. I've downloaded from the internet. At this point in time, it's an AAG on the end server, right? Remember, we have ends in our pants is the way to remember that we've moved from seed server to the seed host server is now called end. That's the joke, but that's how we remember also. Control F, full screen. So the ArcoLinux B ISO, I've downloaded the ArcoLinux B ISO. So that's of course as well possible to use that one. But what I like to do now is to create one for this one, installation of ArcoLinuxD CWM. So I'll do the video later for ArcoLinux CWM. If it's not done already, I think it's done already. Start. So we're booting up the ArcoLinuxD ISO, right? So this can become anything. This is really, all of the choices are possible with this thing. It's super bare. Now there were all these lines to boot up into. That's up to you to see what system. Let's say you have 3 computers. And it can be different. On this computer I need to do this, and that computer I need to use line number 3 for NVIDIA, and such and such and such. That's really hardware dependent, and that's you figuring out which line should I take to have a bootable system afterwards. As of now, we have the option. If you are a beginner in Linux, right, you should take the beginner installation, but in this case in ArcoLinuxD it makes life maybe even more complex. To be honest, ArcoLinuxD is not for a beginner. Intermediate, expert Linux users, okay, fine. Because you need to know your applications, you need to know your system CTL, your services, how to enable them, how to install them. So a lot of knowledge is acquired or needed to get started. So base installation is actually what the project was built for. So years ago, we started with ArcoLinux, XFCE OpenBox i3, the merge, right? Then we got the message, this is too bloated. Of course, 3 desktops, lots of software. Okay, fine. Here you have a bare ISO, ArcoLinuxD. So if you go this way, it really is a base installation. It only contains 10 packages, and you can see that in the ArcoLinuxD cute fish video, right? I've done that way of installing in that particular video. I've done a base installation, and then you type sudo pacman -s SDM, sudo systemctl enable SDM. And if you now think, what's he saying? You're not ready for it yet. Simple as that. So last thing, of course, sudo pacman -s cutefish if you want to have cutefish, XFCE4 goodies if you want to have XFCE4, cinnamon if you want to have cinnamon, plasma if you want to have plasma. That's knowledge that's just there. Now we're gonna go in this video for an advanced installation. So in this case, we get lots and lots and lots of lists. Now, just selecting everything is not the solution. Again, knowledge is acquired or required better. That's the version for later reference. Calamares is our graphical installer. And you can decide, sometimes you need that to have an old computer is maybe better supported with the Linux long-term support kernel. Well, then you select it, because this is the standard kernel. I have no issue whatsoever with the standard Linux kernel. Some of us, there you go, have the need for LTS kernel. My neighbor and his car, maybe you'll hear it in the video. So, NVIDIA users, all kinds of decisions, not going into that. I'm just gonna go for the installation. You need Bluetooth, you need network printing and so on. Decide if you want it. I want to have SDM, and immediately I've got everything. I've got all of it. Chili, Fralonral, etc. All the themes. This is the new one. I love this new one. Next. And now we go for the one that's missing. CWM, that's the video we want to make. And it comes with a lot of stuff, right? We've decided, that's our choice, that these Lego blocks should be required for a user to have CWM and play with it. So all of these things will be installed. Next. So what do I have? I have an ArcoLinux installation. Thanks to Calamares and a few packages, we have an ArcoLinux installation, graphical. Then we decide SDM, be there, with nice themes. And then we decide a desktop. And all the rest is just fun and play. If you don't select anything, that's fine. If you do select them, that's fine too, right? It's just packages. That's something you can do later. Sudo pacman -s package 1, package 2, package 3. Put it in script, run it. Voila. So all kind of choices that you can or cannot click. And then the normal standards choices come back again. Where do you live? What keyboard do you want to have? And do you want to erase? This is maybe a little bit more technical, right? What should I choose? Well, Google. Do not trust anybody, not me, anybody. Make your own decision what file system you want to use. X4 is often chosen. There is also BTRFS, but why not one of the others, right? It's entirely up to you, but at least we give you the choice. Many distributions out there use Calamares, and you won't see anything in here at all. They'll just do, for example, this one. X4 swap with Hibernate, done, but you can't select it, you can't change it. We want you to give you that freedom. With freedom comes choices, with choices you need knowledge, so follow videos. If you have enough RAM, well, there is no need for swap, and maybe later on, even if you selected no swap, you can create your own swap file later on and so on. Again, knowledge. No swap for my VirtualBox. Name, passwords. I'm gonna log in this time automatically and use the same password for my root account. And off it goes. So The installation takes part of this is of course the one of the fastest installations we have. Why? It's a bare ISO. There's nothing on there, hardly any packages on there. So the copy paste, this is basically an extracting and unsquashing of a file, is super fast. If you take Plasma or any other of the desktops of 2 GB, it'll take a little bit longer. Depending on all the selections you've done, and we've selected a lot of things inside Calamares, if you have a slow internet, well, you'll have to wait a little bit longer, right? If you're a slow computer, you'll have to wait a little bit longer. You don't have an SSD or an NVMe, but it's still a hard disk with 7,000 rotations per minute or even lower, because it's an old one, it doesn't get that fast anymore, right? It's gonna be slower. It all depends. I wonder if you hear this sound. It's always so loud, this car. It's an expensive car, so everybody needs to hear it, right? Anything else I can say in the meantime? Well, we've done the installation via Calamares this time, right? You can go for the bare installation. Check out the video that I've made on Cutefish. That was a bare installation. And I did type, I think, sudo pacman -s Cutefish and did everything manually, if I remember correctly. But we did also git clone the scripts from ArcoLinuxD just to show it's there. Use, reuse our scripts because it's easy, right? The work somebody else has done, reuse it, and more time for you personally, for your family life. Reuse scripts. While it's still running, keep talking. This is when you update your ArcoLinux mirrors. So if you think, oh my god, the mirrors are always wrong, and it's possible, I don't know, and the globe is a big place, but end mirror list is where it's coming from. So at this point in time, all the packages are coming from Osbeck. And if Osbeck is down, it will go from EvoWise. If EvoWise is down, it gets the packages from here. And these are computers. Computers can go down, can crash, can have wrong databases. Check out the video I've made about Cutefish. There was a wrong database coming in, and we had to go to number 3, Rackspace, until everything was built. That's the building video of Cutefish, and it's all knowledge, and it's playtime. It's getting in control of your own operating system. That, by the way, is free. So just stick around. Don't distro hop, but listen and learn. And at some point in time, you get this feeling, oh my god, I'm never gonna jump ship again, because this thing is really so tweakable, themable, personal, that I can do anything with ArcoLinux and then the packages of ArcoLinux. So let's boot up. What do we got? Always fun. Clean installation. SDDM. Ooh, it's by default enabled, right? By default it says okay, let's get it done. And then we're gonna log in, and this is your CWM. We can quit this thing, or a hashtag there, and a selection, and this is your 9 desktops that you have. Control T, a super shift enter, move it around with, what was it again? There's a way to move it. I got it. So it's not in the middle, it's at the top. The left button of the mouse, that's it. This, I thought it was movable as well. It has been a while since I've been in the CWM, as you see. I'm struggling with it. But it's a nice desktop. It's interesting to have a look at it, and right mouse click, you have this file manager terminal. The tweak tool is there, the welcome app is there, restart polybar. That's sometimes needed. It is what it is, right? These desktops. So sometimes we need to just, come on, move, right? and you see this blip here. That means it tries to make the connection with the pulse audio, with sound. It has this nice volume icon, and yeah, there is no sound. I did not install sound, so voila. Still a lot of work to do, but this is your ArcoLinuxD ISO. We don't pre-chew your food now, right? It's entirely up to do what you do to the system. Bluetooth, printers, sound. You need to do everything now. And that's the D, and that's why it's that late in the university, in the learning path. It doesn't make sense to start with this. You'll just get stuck. All right? So this is your video of installing ArcoLinuxD and then later on CWM. And we'll make some videos about how everything works in CWM later. Cheers.